Everybody, TK here for Theme King TK. Just last week, I was in Hollywood for the debut of this year's HHN. Now I'm here at Universal Orlando. So we're gonna check out the scare zones, maybe some of the food. I will give my thoughts on the houses. As you can tell though, night has not fallen. So we're gonna spend some time in the parks, party on in the parks, and then I'll see you in the fog. Mr. Carver's returns, a little throwback to Wicked Growth. And you know what else returns? Little Boo! The one place you can actually find him is here at Cabana Bay at the Swizzle Stick Bar, and he brought some of his friends. Well, lots of his friends. This is the lobby of Cabana Bay, all decked out with all kinds of jack-o'-lanterns, kind of falling in line with that classic Halloween theme and all the vines and the growth of the Conservatory of El Artista. Always great to see the jack-o'-lanterns at Cabana Bay. I got in at 5:30, so I am pumpkin cold brew fueled as I head to the parks. They're advertising Horror Nights. Cannot wait, but I've got time to kill before that. And here you can see Earl the Squirrel's truck, a little redress there for Halloween season, and it's crazy to see the construction and the demolition of Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. This was at the time of this filming. There's way less of it even now, and you see Toothsome. And Universal, fittingly enough, is going to be a factory because there's going to be lots of work, lots of expansions, lots of retheming. And here's something new, these new banners here on your way to Islands of Adventure. There you see Harry and Ron as we head in to IOA. Here we take a look at what the crowds look like for early open at 8 a.m. And if you come for that early open, look at Seuss Landing. Nobody here. It's just so peaceful in the park as we head to Lost Continent. The flame is not lit. The flame might be permanently extinguished because construction permits have been filed and changes are coming to Lost Continent. Is it going to be Zelda? Is it going to be Pokemon? Is it going to be Lord of the Rings? Is it going to be One Piece? I hope it's something sword and sorcery-esque. And we take a look now at Velocicoaster. Only a 10-minute wait here at early open as we take a closer look at the incredible, amazing Velocicoaster that is interrupting my peaceful view of Hogsmeade at the moment. I wonder how strong a raptor's bite is.
The name Velociraptor means swift thief. Not only are they fast, their bite is equivalent to a large American alligator. Yikes!
It's a lovely day for a stroll at the park. Welcome to Jurassic Park, where there is nobody literally on the ride. I've got River Adventure all to myself, and River Adventure is going to go away for an 11th-month refurb. Are we going to get the Jurassic World overlay like Hollywood? I hope not. I hope we get state-of-the-art animatronics and you keep the OG Jurassic Park theming. Let's head on a river adventure.
The ultrasaurs in this drive are among the largest creatures ever to walk the earth. Yet despite their awesome size, these gentle giants pose no threat to us. Of herbivores that include Protoceratops and the mighty Triceratops.
Absolutely no one on the raft behind me either, or as Shaggy would say, like zoinks, ghost raft. Heading into All Hallows Eve Boutique. I hope this is something that is not affected by the re-theme or whatever happens with Lost Continent, because I, for one, love spooky season to be year-round, 365. And we take a look at some of the merch, overtaken with Horror Nights merch this time of year. A lot of Little Boo stuff. There you see the little shoulder pet and annual pass exclusive merch. This button up with the gargoyle, pretty cool. That awesome Terrifier logo. Tough to find the shirt though, but I did end up finding it. But he still had some of the preview merch going, and I love just the classic Halloween vibes. You know, much the like that you're gonna see in the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane scare zone. Just the fall leaves and a little Megan popcorn bucket. Five Nights at Freddy's. Where are the red pizza parlor cups? And here we see a little art popcorn bucket. And oh no, get out of here, Megan. But the classic Halloween vibes, always a good time. And we see the trick-or-treaters kind of going up to this creepy house, kind of like Cat Lady of Crooked Lane, and from a creepy cat lady to a creepy Kong lady. Accio Dirt. There you go. That works. Beautiful day in Hogsmeade, and a beautiful day to take in the Frog Choir. So can you dance like a hippogriff? That's on you. Into the pass holder lounge now. They're Betty Boop just kicking it, and they still have this ET magnet and the Niffler button. Picked it up.
Yes. I really need to work on my forearms.
Eat your spinach.
Spider-Man, also a walk-on. Have you ever noticed in the dark room you can see the footprints, handprints of Spidey or Peter Parker himself? And you can get a little more jack-o'-lantern action with the Hobgoblin. Captain America out meeting and greeting. Just had to do it. And what do you think? What does the future hold for Marvel Superhero Island? Will it eventually be on the chopping block, or will Universal just hold on dearly to that IP and those rights from that old contract? I don't know. Dr. Doom, what do you think? So we leave the mellow vibes of Port of Entry behind. Gonna take a little break back at the hotel. I wish I could take the Hemisphere Dancer there. Woody looking very lonely here, so had to jump in for a pic. Gotta love Woody and OG. And now it is time to head back to Universal Studios, Florida. Horror Nights time is closely at hand. Hashtag Panda. How many random just meet and greets can I do in one day? I'm working on it. I'm also working on this half and half at Finnegan's, washing down a Reuben sandwich. And look at this. The Blues Brothers were here. The Mummy Guards have left their post, so that means it's a great opportunity to check out the tribute store and the Pythos of Epimetheus. You've also got this statue there of Poseidon from Poseidon's Fury, by the way, actual statue. Some of the art, the theme of El Artista, some familiar faces in that art, including Little Boo. And really like there it is. There's the Pythos itself, and evil is afoot. It's escaping old stuff, like the Curator, and like Karloff, the Mummy. Lots of cool stuff to look at the tribute store. This projection of, the cursed artifacts. And speaking of cursed artifacts, these totems, as investigated by Boris Schuster. That one looks a lot like the creature. Will we finally get a creature house? Please. There, Terrifier shirt, all extra smalls. Maybe you'll find your size, or he'll find you. Time now for GNN, the Goblin News Network. There are goblins in Gringotts. Last year we had Goblin Feast. What a great house that was. As we saw a cash change there. I recently met John Goblicon. More Goblin news, and if you weren't paying attention, the Green Goblin made an appearance in this video. Revenge of the Mummy, always a great way to pregame and pass some time as you wait for HHN. And a little cameo from this actress from Poltergeist, and that's fitting. And it's fitting because Poltergeist has returned as a house at Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. Well, I'm not going to beat it, but I'm going to feel the beat. And I'm going to do a little dance of joy because it is time for HHN to start. We'll kick things off by checking out the scare zones first, the origins of horror.
Wicked looking. Something crow.
I saw the ridiculous
Now we head to Mutations Toxic 20s. BuzzCon is really giving these guys the business. This scare zone is the bee's knees.
Everybody, please! Remain calm. I got this under control, you see? Got help on the way. Stay clear of the roads and fight the mutations.
What's going on, officer?
It wasn't my fault.
Help me, please! It's everywhere!
That ain't me, right?
The iconic Mel's Die-In is also the home of a new experience, the zombie car hops.
Looks delicious.
The zombie car hops got me hungry, so I went with the Death by Cheese Stick and the freakishly long corn dog. Both were pretty good. The corn dog got a little soggy batter-wise, but both brought the flavor. And now to HHN Bar, where you can meet Lila in real life from Dolls Let's Play Dead.
Don't hurt it. Oh, no.
As well as troubled artist Sergio Navarro. Mi Arte. Got a little beverage, the Dead Man's Hand. It was bourbon and apple-based, very good. And despite the rumors, Art was indeed out and about many times in front of the Clown Cafe. HHN is always a party atmosphere, especially at Club Whore. Into Diagon Alley, where the Death Eaters lurk in the shadows, something that has been missing for the last couple years at Universal Studios Hollywood. Time for another Scare Zone Masquerade Dance of Death. And now, vintage Halloween vibes aplenty at the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. Always great to see these jack-o'-lanterns originally in the Sweet Revenge Scare Zone. And perhaps the scariest thing in the night, the track to nowhere as Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket is demolished. Cool to see the old Ghostbusters firehouse without the track going through it. Had to get this shot one last time. Rip Ride Rocket with the moon above. Big thanks to Attractions 360 as you can't film in the houses, so I'm using some of their footage. Let's go to the rankings. Number 10 is Fallout. And it had some moments, but I mean, it just really was disappointing. And I think a lot of people share that sentiment. It started off in the vaults, Vault 33. You got a lot of the scares coming from the Raiders, and then you'd have, you know, Lucy popping up and saying okie dokie. And, you know, it had its moments. I think one of its high points, and this is something that the Hollywood House didn't have, was the battle in Philly. The fact that you could hear the bullets ricocheting off of those kind of tin walls, and you'd see the ghoul, and, you know, the battle going on. But a lot of it was theater of the mind, because you really didn't see too many characters shooting it out. But it was pretty cool. into the Super Duper Mart where there's plenty of ghouls there. You saw Lucy holding on to her organs, not succumbing to snip snip. And you see the armor here, but of all the scenes they picked, the one where Maximus is stuck inside and the power core has been taken. This is a moment that could have been really cool. That creature that, ate the head of the target. Really expected a big puppet or animatronic there. And then to the new, California Republic headquarters, where you do get a cool kind of gunfight shootout scene to end things off. Let's go to Hollywood now. Hollywood, I think, had the superior Fallout house for a couple reasons. Here you're in Vault 32, the bodies. Here's their take on the Wasteland. A little more effective, more scare actors, more jump scares, but the big winner for Hollywood is the bear. What a great scene that was. Knight Titus, Maximus, the bear, and the Super Duper Mart. More effective as well. You better try your luck indoors, and you got a lot of jump scares from the ghouls that, Lucy let loose. But all in all, it just missed the mark and ends up at the bottom of the pack. But it was close. Number 9, Dolls Let's Play Dead. I'm going to give this one a slight edge just because of the creativity. The big sets, you're inside Lila's dollhouse, your doll size, kind of like a demented version of Toy Story Land at Hollywood Studios. And, it's not the dolls trying to attack you. These toys have been tormented. They're in pain. They'll come out and be like, it hurts. And, like this kind of Ken figure in his movement kind of did a karate chop at one point, trying to get out of there. Creepy baby dolls are always for the win when it comes to spooky season. This yarn spider. So the sets were cool. Kind of the dollhouse bed there, as you can see. There were giant crayons. There was, giant mouse trap or rat trap. And you would actually see, the mouse later on, a rat. And Lila peering in. She's on the outside, just having her way, being the puppet master, tormenting these toys. And so I appreciate the creativity. It was kind of bright in there, so not necessarily super scary, but disturbing. And I never knew that I needed to walk through an easy bake oven until this house. And you want to do that, then HHN 34 is your opportunity to do that. So I give credit to that for the sets, for the creativity, for the story, for creating another HHN kind of figure and lore and dare I say, potential icon in Lila. You're kind of at her whim being inside that dollhouse. So, while not my favorite, at least unique and fun and creative. Coming in at number 8, Grave of Flesh. Now here's more of a return to form for an HHN maze. It started out so strong. I love the cemetery set. I love looking up. You see your own grave. You're at the bottom, of the graveside and 6 feet down. And I love the groundskeeper saying, "Oh, the spirits are restless tonight." But then it kind of becomes more of the same. You're heading into the underworld, so the explanation of the house goes. But it's kind of repetitive sets that get a little more and more iridescent. But plenty of jump scares between, the flesh eaters and kind of skeletons and ghouls. And I mean, it was a classic kind of haunted house, HHN house. It really gave me Not Scary Farm vibes, honestly, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was just so linear and kind of one-dimensional, but also fun. You got a decent variety of different monsters coming at you. But as you can see here, it's all kind of these catacombs. You can put all the flashy lights you want on it. you're still just underground with monsters jumping out. And then there's the weird, kind of stairway to nowhere set that was really cool, but it didn't really have much explanation for why that's there. Is that just part of? Is that somebody's big crypt? Is that just part of the underground graves, or what's going on there? But it became it started so strong, and I think it just went a little bit downhill from there. But I still enjoyed it. It was definitely scarier than Dolls. It was more just your classic walk-through jump scare haunted house. So it had nostalgia vibes, and I enjoyed it. But it sits towards the bottom of the pack because there just wasn't anything that really stood out. It just was. It was pretty forgettable. It was fun. But later in the night, it would sometimes have, a 45, 55-minute wait. And that versus other houses, I would definitely prioritize other houses. Number 7, Hatchet and Chains Demon Bounty Hunters. Love the set here, the outside, the Wild West. You've got Hatchet, a demon himself that's seen the error of his ways. Miss Haggerty there have summoned these demons from Hell's Well. They've taken over the town. And the sets were great. You got to love the Wild West. Now, ironically enough, this also reminded me a bit of a Knott's Scary Farmhouse, because Knott's, of course, very Wild West themed. Kind of gave me, Origins of Calico vibes a little bit. But here you see Chains. He's got supernatural chains, kind of like Ghost Rider, and taking down a demon. And there was one scare that I loved. Very Green Goblin from Spider-Man, where this demon came out like kind of dresses like a little girl or a helpless like damsel in distress, and I love that too, breaking out of the coffin. But it was like, help me, and it was like, gotcha. I was like, my baby Spider-Man. It was very much kind of Green Goblin. But here you see, kind of the cemetery and the Undertaker, and very cool, just Wild West sets, which you can do a lot with when it comes to like the spaghetti western. So I only wish that Hatchet and Chains came with more Hatchet and Chains. I love that skeletal horse. That reminds me of Monstros at Universal Studios Hollywood a little bit too, because they've had some kind of skeletal horse rooms. But taking a look here, as you're getting deep into the house now. And I love this effect too, the projection of the train going by, and the demons are trying to catch the train and then take over the Wild West. And it's Hatchet and Chain's job to stop that from happening, derail that train, blow that track. It doesn't always come out clearly as you walk through the house, but very cool effort. Here you see, a good puppet, big demon head coming out. Those are always fun, but a lot of fun, just not the best. Coming in at number 6, Five Nights at Freddy's. What a triumph this was. Incredible facade, working with Jim Henson Studios to create the animatronics. And check this out, man. Unbelievable. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, all on stage performing. Absolutely fantastic. Is this the scariest house in the world? Of course it isn't. And it's not intended to be, but it's scarier than you might think, because the ghost kids that are inside the animatronics make appearances, and they are pretty creepy with their the black tears from their eyes. And but just to be, I will say, set wise, one of the most impressive houses that I've ever seen in Horror Nights. You don't feel like you're in a Horror Nights house. You feel like you're literally walking through a tour of the sets from the film. It's, really incredible in that way. You see the security room there. The, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was incredible. The booths and the stage. You see Mr. Cupcake or Carl or Cupcake, call him what you will, attacking you throughout. There's Foxy. And then you've got your fair share of, the people that were supposed to trash the place, the ghost kids, your victim scares. And so even though, of course, the puppets or animatronics themselves aren't necessarily going to be that scary, they're so effective. Look at this Freddy, dude. Look at the eyes. When he takes a few steps, swats at you. Another ghost kid there, Ghost Foxy, I believe. This guy meets his end at the hands of Bonnie. It was just super fun. Had a smile on my face the entire time. Now, I must say that I think I had better walkthroughs in Hollywood overall of the house. Again, this footage is from Attractions 360. I love this, though. This is a great scare. The classic arcade games, and then the ghost kid pops out. And Orlando took it a step further by having the screens actually on, and they made their own menu screens for the games. So super cool there. Here we see Chica again, and it was just so much fun. I was impressed. I had a smile on my face the entire time. Here you see Springtrap walking out, pulling a knife on you. Now, here's Hollywood, right? So I think I favor the Hollywood facade just because you see it from more of a distance. The little picture of Springtrap there with the kids. Now, the thing that Orlando has over Hollywood is, you see here, Hollywood only has Freddy on stage, but the Freddy is still pretty amazing. And I had a great walkthrough at Hollywood. Here you see the ghost kids of Hollywood, Chica. And then one of my favorite moments coming up that I didn't see happen in Orlando is Cupcake chasing, the actor like down the hallway. So both were really phenomenal. This is footage from Hollywood. Good time. Number 5, Jason Universe. This was, as the designer said, was designed to be relentless. In Camp Crystal Lake, if you're running away from Jason, you trip over a root of a tree or something, you think you're well ahead, and you turn around and Jason's right there. And that's what this house is all about. Jason is always one step behind you, no matter how much you try and get away. This one, again, had victim scares, tight quarters, very claustrophobic, and plenty of Jason. All you can eat Jason. But the sets, for me, this is the best transition of a Fast and Furious house ever. Between the two sections with the Volkswagen Bug and Pamela Voorhees, you thought you were inside the whole time. Every other one, felt disconnected, not here. And then when you walk in that Jason mask, let me tell you, pardon my French, but the shit is on, all right? The gauntlet, the Jason gauntlet at Orlando is phenomenal. Let's enjoy it here for a moment. Just wall-to-wall scares. And then when they pumped the fog in there, crazy. It was so hard to see, and you're going to get got, and you do. And then here, Jason being resurrected there with the lightning, and then you'd have one right behind you. But here's some footage from Hollywood. I think Hollywood's was the superior house. It had more timing, structure, story. On the outside, warning, you're going to go to Camp Blood, you're doomed. You're doomed. And it actually, the Hollywood house had a facade, and I just think the pacing was better. Here you see this Mrs. Voorhees headless body scare that I didn't notice in Orlando. Actual victims in the VW Bug with Jason bearing down. A lot of just special effects kills. Here you see Jason doing a head rip. And, there were Pepper's ghost effects. There was ripping the heart out. And there, Pepper's ghost here of Jason resurrecting and then disappearing. And then they'd have a scare actor pop out. My favorite is this, though. Check this out. Yes, the archery kill in Hollywood, so good. And Hollywood had its own little gauntlet as well, as you see here. But, the gauntlet in Orlando, amazing. But I'll give Hollywood the win there. Number 4, Galkin, another impressive original from the creative team at Universal Studios, Florida. And I wish this was in a soundstage so it could have been colder. But man, oh man, this was a beautiful house, layered sets. Anytime when you have these originals where you see things throughout the house from different rooms, in this case, like the Burning Man, the big wicker burning idol, you would see from various rooms. There was a good variety of scares and different monsters. Wolves, you'd have to, not just your standard curtains, you'd walk through like fur pelts. This was a great house. And for a tent house, it was amazing. Look at this, wolf animatronics. And plenty of scares as well. Never had a bad walkthrough of this house. Was always well staffed. The sets are great. They're big. Again, these spring tents are really pretty amazing in terms of the scope of the sets. They really match up well with the soundstage sets. And here you see that kind of Burning Man, burning in effigy. And that was the thing you would see from different rooms. It was super cool. Kind of like the bell tower from Blood Moon, Dark Offering. And then, of course, you had the big beast. It was mentioned that you'd go into the belly of the beast. And you do, literally. You get swallowed here, going through the intestinal tract. And are the scares over? No, they're not. Because even the small and large intestines are full of scare actors here in Galkin. This was a close call. Galkin could have even been number 2, maybe even 1. It was right up there for me. I mean, there's very little distance between these houses. Number 3 for me, though, the Horrors of the Wyatt 6. I'm a WWE guy. You know, I'm a commentator for wrestling. I was a druid for The Undertaker at WrestleMania 21. If you watch my Hollywood video, I'll show a picture of where I was a druid. But the costuming was great. There you see Rowan, a rambling rabbit. The fact that they recreated the backstage of a WWE TV taping, you know, complete with like the gorilla position and road, you know, cases and monitors, was super cool. I mean, it was great set design. It was great storytelling. And you could tell that Michael Aiello and his team just were living their best life. This was like fantasy camp for them. There you see Uncle Howdy, the character that is the brother of Bray Wyatt, who was a creative genius behind all this that sadly passed away way too young. But see, again, here you see like wardrobe. You see the Firefly Funhouse, which would be backstage because they would build that stage backstage at WWE TV and build the, and shoot the vignettes. There you saw Alexa Bliss portrayed. Very cool. It wasn't advertised as part of this house ahead of time, so that was a nice little surprise. And, they really put these characters in a setting as if they, were in a horror movie. Ramblin' Rabbit, just very effective. Huskus the pig. And they cast some big scare actors for this. They were imposing. And when they would come out, you felt that size and scope, which was really cool. Coming in here, the realm of Mercy the Buzzard, or Dexter Loomis, the wrestler who portrays him now. This scare here by Mercy, as it happened there, got me every single time. Abby Witch. These characters, I think the strongest thing about this house is you don't have to be a WWE fan to appreciate this house, enjoy this house. This could come off as just a really great original house if you didn't know the source material. I love this. The fans of Bray Wyatt were called the Fireflies because they would, put their flashlights on their phone when he would come out. But I love that they explained it, that behind those lights are these like ghouls, that the Fireflies are actually these like dark spirits. And there you see the rocking chair Bray. Now let's take a look at Hollywood, which leaned in more into the Wyatt compound in the bayou, gave each of the characters kind of their own zone to play in. You saw Abby Witch, here's Huskus Pig. I love this Stilt Walker, Mercy the Buzzard in Hollywood. That was a highlight. So again, the characters look great. A tea party for Ramblin' Rabbit. And then I love this coming up in Hollywood. The fact that when you go in the Firefly Funhouse, you had Alexa Bliss swinging on that disappearing wall. That was a great touch. Overall, I think I'm going to give the edge to Orlando just for the love and detail and the Easter eggs. Jimmy Hart's megaphone was in the Orlando house. But I loved Hollywood as well, and I love this tribute to Bray Wyatt. Number 2, El Artista, A Spanish Haunting. Take it in, breathe it in. Look at this facade. Incredible. This is Orlando's team at its best with an original. The set design was truly beautiful. You really felt like you were going through this dilapidated Spanish mansion, the Casa Creacion. They had a stilt walker scare, and Sergio Navarro himself. And then, you'd have to, Pepper's ghost effects, just a gothic horror, classic stuff. These kind of ghouls and reapers, and characters could go into two different rooms. I love this kind of haunting, walking ghost soldier. They would show up here and in the conservatory. MVP of the maze and really of the night, I think, is the flying gargoyle. So come for the beautiful set design, stay for the flying gargoyle. There he goes. And then you'd get that, you'd be looking up, and then you'd get that second gargoyle scare. So great. There's that soldier again. I mean, look at this. And not only that, like here you see in the garden, the smells for a house, sometimes you dread the smells of an HHN house. The smells in here were good. It smelled like flowers when you went in this area. Like a real, honest-to-God working fountain. And the gargoyle could pop up here, too, at the end of his kind of runway ramp. But, now Sergio's art is coming to life. He had a really cool character that had a projection kind of skull inside the costume, kind of like the divers, the scuba divers or whatever from Dead Man's Pier. But this was a beautiful house, and it wasn't short on scares either. It had lots of scare actors. There you see Sergio meeting his fate. His art got the best of him, and but El Artista, amazing. But number 1, I am going to give it to Terrifier. And I was surprised. I didn't expect this to be the case. But here was a house that had a ton of buzz, and it lived up to it. It was one of those IPs that was sought after. There you see Art just plowing through his doorway, ripping a body in half. Lots of cool effects. Here's a house that was scary, gory, and whimsical, fun, had great effects. This coming up, one of my favorite. This reflection scare, where the actor has a sign that says circus backwards, so in the mirror you see it properly, and then they get the jump scare on you. I think that the Terrifier house in Hollywood in Orlando was superior, far superior to Hollywood, because it had jump scares. I'll show you some Hollywood in a minute, but Hollywood, most of the arts were like already out there. It was just displaying kind of famous kills to like lifeless dummies. And here in Orlando, at least there was some track of some screaming and some movement, some kinetic energy. Clown Cafe was great at both. I don't want to diminish Hollywood and say that it wasn't good. It was. It's just that in Orlando, Terrifier is my number 1 house. I truly didn't expect that to be the case. And that just shows how well this performed. Look at this, the Clown Cafe, the sets. If you're a fan of Terrifier, this is like a dream come true. I love this too. Clown Cafe, of course, Art, blow torches the singer of the song. So there's this cool blowtorch moment with the projection mapping. There's Art, for like Terrifier 3, where he's kind of dormant and hibernating. And it was just so much fun. Naughty Potty, of course, you had to have that. You have Vicky there. You have Santa Art. I mean, it was long. It was a long house. It checked all the boxes. Fun, gory, scary, effects, water effects, buzzworthy. This one had everybody talking going in. Oh, how wet do you get, in the wet path? What do you see in the dry path? And so this was one that just had everybody talking, kind of like Insidious did last year. Oh, it's so scary, Insidious. It's crazy. And it was. And Insidious was my #1 house last year because it was buzzworthy and it lived up to the hype. But this one here, you see it. Here's the choice. You're going to go wet or dry, and thankfully, Attractions 360, again, a huge thanks for the footage, showed both. So I think here's dry path. Not a ton going on, but you do see the projection and the shadow of Sienna beheading Art, which is pretty cool. And then, right when you get out of the house, many times a headless Art is there, with his horn roll. Honk, honk. But yeah, here you see it. There you see the projection, Art being beheaded. And now let's take a look at the very iconic bloodbath, and very talked about bloodbath. I went through the bloodbath, didn't get super soaked, definitely got wet. And I think, again, they had to tone it down. It sounded like they had to close the maze in maybe team member night because it was flooding. So there you see Sienna with the head. But now let's take a look at Hollywood, what they did. One thing Hollywood did better, I think, I love that the facade is outside. It just seemed more genuine. It seemed more accurate, that this haunted house facade was outside. Art was outside, very uneasy walking by him. They had the art from Sienna's dad, from his sketchbook. And then that led, the Miles County Clown. And that led to this cool, boo hole. And one of the few kind of jump scares of the house, because a lot of times in the Hollywood house, Art was just out and about. But I like this. I like this from Hollywood too. Repurposing this big puppet, a giant, Art head coming out. Because in Terrifier 2, in the haunted house, there were these kind of big animatronics in the haunted house that was like a fake out scare. And Hollywood went there. They did it. They actually showed the hacksaw kill, had a practical dummy there, did it where Orlando was a projection and then you saw the body after the fact. So I guess you got to give credit to Hollywood for going all out and delivering on the hacksaw kill. Here's their version of the Naughty Potty. This was great. They had the poop monster. You have Vicky up there. I thought this room might have been a little better in Hollywood. But overall, Orlando, I just thought was better. This was great, a great bit. Art as like a security blackout in the house, forcing you to go through the chicken exit, and then, killing an Art the Clown. So breaking the fourth wall. So that does it for HHN 34 in Orlando. Next year, HHN 35. Will Jack the Clown return? Will the Universal Monsters return? Will the Pumpkin Lord return?
Pumpkin Lord!
The Pumpkin Lord! He grows! Halloween!
If you attended HHN 34 in Florida, what was your favorite house? What's your ranking? Check out my Hollywood video, and I'll see you in the fog.